FiiO strikes again with yet another excellent IEM, this time at just $260 or around 400 Singapore dollars. Hey guys, we have the FiiO FH5S earphones with us today, and they are a very interesting proposition at the price they're going for. Before we get into the review, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on upcoming videos. So, let's start with design. This is a semi-open IEM with a pretty interesting design that almost reminds me of like overlapping dragon scales. It's pretty cool, and I do like the rose goldish metal ring around the faceplate. All in all, one of the more unique designs from FiiO, I would say. You get the 3 DIP switches on the rear of each earbud for the bass, mids, and treble clearly marked. As you can guess, turning whichever switch on results in a bit of a boost for that range. Most of my testing was done on the standard setting with all the switches turned off. But if you prefer a bit more bass, turning on the bass switch does provide a bit more oomph. These are hybrid IEMs, with dual dynamic drivers and dual balanced armature drivers, which means that the vents on the faceplate serve more than just aesthetic purposes. As such, the shells are relatively large and do protrude out a bit. That being said, the shell is shaped almost like a custom IEM, so it sits relatively well in the ear. They are a bit heavy though, at almost 9 grams thanks to the aluminium magnesium alloy, but they feel really solid in the hand. Passive noise isolation though, not great because, like I said, it's a semi-open IEM. The cable connects via an MMCX connector, and the connection jacks are coloured blue and red for easy recognition of left and right. The MMCX are the expanding type, so if you hate your earphones swiveling freely on an MMCX connection like me, well, these won't do that. At the termination point, you get screw-on plugs, 3.5mm single-ended and 2.5mm and 4.4mm balanced options. Unfortunately, I couldn't lock the jacket in place on the 2.5mm termination. I'm not sure if it's just me or if there's a problem with the threads, but yeah, I had to kind of just stick to the 4.4mm balanced jack for the entirety of this review. The cable itself is a 4-core SPC cable, and it's just okay. The memory wire sheathing does extend quite a bit, and it's a bit finicky. That being said, I didn't experience any microphonics, and it's a pretty good thing that there's not much cable memory, so the cable pretty much straightens out every time. Although that might also be due to the weight of the 4.4mm termination. In the box, you get a plethora of accessories. FiiO is great with providing ear tips, and they've done it once again here. You get bass boosting tips, vocal boosting tips, double flange tips, foam tips, as well as balanced standard tips. Personally, I think the standard tips are the worst of the bunch, so just swap them out with any other tip that you can find in the box and it will definitely sound better. I've also had enough of biflange and tri-flange tips after years of using etymotic earphones, so I found myself mostly just sticking to the bass tips. Unfortunately, FiiO hasn't provided a pair of spin-fit tips like they did for other earphones, so if you want those will have to be a separate purchase. There's also a sturdy leather case that's honestly pretty big. Definitely not pocketable, you'll have to keep these in a bag. There's also a cleaning tool included that has a tip to help flip the switches mentioned earlier. Anyway, that's about it for the design and the accessories provided. Let's move on to the sound. Again, I did all testing with the switches turned off. I did fiddle around the switches a bit, but my thoughts are pretty much just based off the standard setting. If you go online and search for reviews of the FH5S, you'll notice that a lot of people say that these require burn-in. Now, these are a pair of review units, so I have no idea if they've ever gone to anybody else before me or if there's been any sort of burn-in performed. So I took it upon myself to just play a few of my playlists for around 150 hours or so. So yeah, I did take a quick listen before and after, and there is a bit of a difference, but not as much as people online were saying. Maybe these were already burned in by someone before. Anyway, testing was done on my iPhone 12 as well as the FiiO Q3 DAC amp. So anyway, after burn-in, this actually came out sounding pretty darn good. It's a well-balanced sound that's leaning more towards a reference sound. The bass is tightly controlled and very clear with a good amount of texture. Flipping the bass switch on does provide a slight boost, although probably not as big a change as you would think. Mids are pretty good. You get a rich sound that has just a tinge of warmth with great timbre and really engaging vocals. Not much to fault here. Treble is where it gets a bit mixed for me. As some of you might know, I love energetic treble. And the treble on the FiiO FH5S does have a lot of sparkle and energy, which I love. The two BA drivers are located in the sound tube, really close to the ear, which results in a more forward treble. But that's also where the problem lies. If this was the sound with the treble switch turned on, I think I wouldn't have any problem with it. As it stands now, I actually have no use for the treble switch, and people who are more sensitive to treble will actually find the sound a bit too peaky. Thankfully, there's a pretty decent solution, which is to swap out the stock cable for a copper cable, as that will kind of bring down the treble a little bit and also introduce a bit of warmth into the bass and mids. Moving on, the soundstage is excellent, thanks to the open back design of course. You get a great sense of airiness and space, and imaging is spot on as well. At this price point, it's pretty darn good. So, who are these for? Well, I would say a vast majority of people would actually enjoy them. They're affordable, they're relatively versatile, and they work really well with a wide variety of genres. If you prefer a warmer sound, throw in a copper cable. Like energetic treble? Well, these are already really good. You can boost anything you want with the flip of a switch, and honestly, these just sound great for the price. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the FiiO FH5S. If you guys have any comments or questions, leave them down below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to us. Till the next one, see you guys!